And,
how weird is that?
No, it is.
But that's like you're operating in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's like you're going by horse and like sending messages by pigeon or something.
And it's completely inefficient.
That sucks.
It does. That sucks.
What's good, everyone? As you know already, my name's Kyle Gillis, and this is the BlackTees in Engineering podcast. And today I have a special guest with me here, Francois. You pronounce the last name?
Jaffres.
Francois Jaffres. All right, I just had to ask him how to pronounce it right before here, so I didn't butcher it too much. But all right, Francois, I don't know you that well, but like we've talked like briefly here and there. He's interviewed me for positions. This is like mind blowing to me. Go ahead and just give the people like your major right now. Well, I already said he's a fellow industrial engineer, but maybe you just start going into like who you are and how you even got here in the first place, as far as like industrial engineering. Like what led you to industrial engineering?
Right. So I started off as computer science major here. We got into recursion, and it's something I hated at the time. So I was just like, I had to get away from that.
So you started computer science. What is the thing that you just mentioned? Recursion?
Recursion, yeah.
Okay.
It was, I think, CS 112 here.
Okay.
For some reason, I just couldn't wrap my mind around it. And then I moved on to civil, and then I spent, I think, a year there. So I was kind of taking like these upper-level courses at the time, like CS 112 when I first came in, and just found out everything I hated. And then moved on to industrial engineering, which was Dr. Bird's actually his pitch to me. He was like, you hate all these things. Let's try this out. Let's go the industrial engineering route that has kind of like the business aspects to it, which always intrigued me, like even as a kid.
Yeah.
And it's just literally taking a problem and trying to figure it out any way possible.
So it took you 2 years almost, or like a year and a half, coming into college before you even knew like what major you want to be in. That's interesting. Yeah. My sister is like a senior in high school right now, and she's clueless on what she wants to do. Right. And she's like, maybe engineering, maybe this. She like thinks of like all these different things. Yeah. And I'm trying to explain to her that like no one really knows. People think they know and they say they know.
Right.
But they don't really know.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I spent junior and senior year of high school completely in love with computer science. Like I was coding in Java, learned a little bit of CSS, or C++, I'm sorry, Python, a little bit of Visual Basic, everything thanks to Paul Bowie.
So you were in it. Like you didn't just like kind of like glance into CSS or computer science in general, and then like not for me. Like you were already coding and all that stuff.
Yeah. Well,
that's cool.
A good background. Came in with like I think 12 credits in CS, and
so you already had it. Like, you knew that you could code. You knew you had the capability to do whatever.
Right. I think it was more of I didn't like the teaching style of the professor at the time.
Right.
And it didn't really, and that recursion just really didn't click with me. So I was like, I need to stop wasting my time and try to find something that I actually enjoy. Spending 15 hours behind a computer was not my best idea by far. It was just, who knows?
That's understandable.
I kept with it.
I think it's funny though, because CS and IE or computer science and industrial engineering is so different in my mind. Like a lot of times people come to industrial engineering because either they don't have the technical skills or they aren't interested. Probably more that one. They aren't interested in doing all the technical work and sit behind a desk. They like working with people.
Right.
And that's just, I see them on like almost opposite sides of the spectrum,
Yeah.
So do you feel like you're more of a social person, or do you think you're more of a...
I think so, and I think my friends would think so, and my mom thinks so, definitely.
Oh, too talkative, huh?
So, I mean, what I would say to your sister is just come in, find out. You're probably not going to find out what you love immediately.
Right.
Everyone that I've talked to doesn't really find out what they love, like love as soon as they come to college. Find out what you hate, really, and find out what doesn't work best for you, and that's really the only way that you'll learn what does work best for you. Trying to trial and error.
Yeah, no, that's a good way of putting it. And I never had a real answer for anyone either. The idea was come in, get as many experiences as possible.
Right.
Outside of that, I don't have a good answer for it. Like I did that. That's essentially what I did. So you just kind of test the waters. How about that Dr. Bird pitch though?
Oh, that was something else. He saw how much I was messing up in school and how much I just hated what I was doing, and he told me, just try out like a 200 level class.
Yeah.
And I came, tried it out. To be honest, I kind of hated it because he was giving me like this tough love sort of deal, where it was like he kind of lured me in, and then as soon as I got there, he's like, "All right, now you got to buckle down and get to it."
He gets you with the sweets. He's like, "This is how you do it. Look at all these benefits," and then you get in there. And he's like a drill sergeant.
Yeah. But no, I definitely needed that structure. I think he's very hands on. I mean, you've experienced his talks. It's kind of like, you know, you come to college with no experience of being by yourself, and you kind of need that guidance where sometimes you're not provided that guidance.
Quick pause real quick. Dr. Bird, for those of you guys who don't know, is pretty much our main advisor in the industrial engineering department. He's like a mentor, a guiding light as far as what you should be doing, when you should be doing it, what industrial engineering is about. And honestly, he's just like a weird enough, like a good person to have around to talk to about anything. He's one of the guys who always has their office door open. Shout out Dr. Bird. I mentioned the podcast to him. Everyone, he's by far the most highly requested person for the podcast. If we got him on here, I think this would make history.
No, I feel like he just has great life advice in general.
100%.
And when you're this young, that's what you need.
Bro, 100%.
Just a bunch of different experiences.
So what was your introduction to college like? But outside of like the whole major piece, like what was it like just coming for you? Was it a wild ride at first, or was it like had trouble finding groups, or what?
I think it was kind of a wild ride. I came into school with a few friends from my hometown. I actually went to high school with them too, and I think I'm the last one here that made it. There might have been one or two more that graduated. I kind of took the longer path to graduation, but
I got you, man. That's how it works sometimes. I'm just curious, how old are you?
I'm turning 24 in February.
Bro, so I'm 24 right now, turning 25 in September. This month. You turn 25 this month, or
actually 2 weeks. Wow, I did not realize.
That's crazy, man.
Weeks.
Happy birthday! Early birthday. That's insane, man. I feel the same way. I took the long route. I got here in 2012.
Same.
Oh, same. Okay, perfect. Got here in 2012, and then it's been a wild ride since. I took a year off for just not sure if I wanted to even be in school. That's how I ended up getting my internship, and just doing all these sorts of things, right? But my point is I know everyone's on this no regrets thing, but I truly 100% do not regret my route. If that was not the case, I would not have all these things opportunities in front of me that I have, and some of them I see and I'm like, this is way better than what I was headed towards.
Right.
It's weird, seriously weird to think about.
Especially with this company that I work for now, when I got in, it was a completely different name even. But had I graduated on time, I don't know. I don't think I would have been with this company. I would have been looking for something more secure, and everyone wants kind of like that safeguard and that safety net of when you graduate. Let's try to pay these student loans and whatnot.
100%, man. I'm
just so glad.
No, I feel you. And we'll hold off on the company for 1 minute because I want to hear a little more about this transition into college. Were you a big partier coming into school? Or wait, no, let me start here. You said you had a few friends who came with you, right? Mm-hmm. Where are you from?
Arlington, Virginia.
Okay, not that far away.
Yeah,
okay.
About 3.5 hours.
3.5 hours?
Yeah.
For those of you guys who don't know, we're currently at Morgantown, West Virginia, home of West Virginia University. I'm sure most of you guys already know that. But so was it a party thing for you when you first came to school here?
Yeah, I think so. I saw what was it? I'm Schmack videos. Senior year, everyone's kind of Googling their schools, and at the time that was huge.
That was huge.
Humongous.
I came here the same year you did. So literally, I'm Schmack. We were sitting in classes our senior year, watching in class. I'm Schmack.
Trying to get around the security of the school.
Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
Crazy. It's crazy.
That's how it started. And then I came here and found out it has a great engineering program, and talked about the route that I took to get to industrial engineering. And,
no, 100%, man.
It turned into a lot more than just a party school.
No, for sure. But for those of you who don't know, West Virginia, when we first got here, it was ranked, I think, number 1 for party schools.
Yeah.
And it wasn't this fake list number 1. Let me get this out there. We weren't this fake list number 1. I think I've heard 5 of my friends who go to other schools be like, yeah, we're number 1 party school.
Yeah.
I don't know where they're fucking getting their information from, but god damn it, we were Stanford ranked, whatever the highest ranked list. We were number 1.
For a couple years in a row, I think.
It was wild. Now it's a different story, but it was wild at the time, real wild.
Campus has calmed down, I think.
100%.
I mean, since we first started going
100%. And, I feel like an old man telling stories, being like, I'm so serious. I feel like an old man telling stories I know you guys think the partying is good here now, but when I was there
years
back
ago.
in the day. If you were here a few years ago, I'm like the old man stories already.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm like, jeez.
Yeah, it's like, you get one of those days and the whole riot squad comes out now compared to back then when it was like, all right, let's just make sure that they're out in the street, but they're safe, like out in the street. Now it's like, let's shoot them with pepper spray and
right away
pellet guns. Yeah,
right
yeah.
away.
Have you seen that? You've seen the videos, I'm
people.
guessing.
Yeah, I've seen it. People think this is hilarious. Like, this is a normal thing here, guys. Like the canisters of pepper spray, the pellets. Like, this is like normal here. Like, we're just used to it. But right in front of Summit Hall, right, one of the dorm rooms.
Yeah.
Freshman year, I got there, and there was a party there first week, right? And like in front of all those houses that are probably torn down now. Mm-hmm. And I just remember this was my first like run-in with the school. Thousands of people out on that street in front of there, like drinking, doing whatever craziness. And I remember cops would go to turn down that road and turn their lights on, and nobody would move, and the cop would just have to go around.
Yeah.
That's the type of place that we were living in.
But it was weird. It was like in so much chaos, there was like a calmness. It was like everyone kind of understood each other. Everyone was kind of like, all right, yeah, we're in this. Like, we just won a game or we lost a game. It didn't really matter. We were all kind of in it together. We're all West Virginia Mountaineer students.
No, bro, 100%. Yeah, you feel that vibe here all the time, and that's pretty good about the school. But all right, so back to the piece of like what you were kind of getting at earlier about. You wouldn't have had the opportunity had you not we'll call it the road less traveled or the longer road. You wouldn't have had the opportunity. Critical path. Okay, we'll call it that. The longest route to get there. Okay, that's fair. You wouldn't have had this opportunity. So what is the opportunity that you're talking about? Like, where do you work right now, and like what is it that you do?
Yeah, so I work.
And how do you do it? Because you're in school, right?
Yeah. Well, a lot of it I couldn't do if management, our CEO and COO weren't so understanding with me being in school.
Okay, so what company is it? What's the name?
It's Noviland Incorporated. We handle on-demand manufacturing. So what a lot of people don't know is that the supply chain to get products manufactured overseas and even domestically is just, it touches so many hands and there's so many layers to it that everyone takes a cut. We're aiming to kind of get rid of all that, make manufacturing more accessible to everyone. Whether it's wholesalers, importers, developers, inventors, it's just like so many people can utilize the service. Where a year ago, I never would have thought this is how easy it is to get something manufactured. I would have thought, all right, let's go to the store and see how they can make it. But then that goes through so many different barriers.
Right.
And actually, that's kind of how it started. Our CEO started working with. Well, he came from a family that handled manufacturing overseas.
Okay.
And he came to visit one of their exporters' clients here, I think it was. And then he found out, hey, why is this touching like 5 different layers to just get to them?
Just to do one simple thing.
Like, why are they paying triple the amount
right.
that the factory sold it for?
Right.
And they still had another process to manufacture like that one item too. I think they had to punch holes in it too. So it was like,
just touching too many hands at one time, just a lot going on, and it doesn't make sense. So real quick, let me explain this to whoever, maybe isn't an IE right now, maybe who doesn't fully understand what's going on. So from the time that you walk into Target and you find like a mug that you want, or you walk into Target and you find a chair or something, even something as simple, say smaller, say like something small like a nail or a hinge for a drawer or something, just anything at all, right? But usually we're just talking about just small products. It goes through a whole manufacturing process, right? So it has to be made. They have to get the materials, all those things, and then it goes through what we normally just call the supply chain, of where different parts are put on, different things are done, and it's painted. It's put together. It's pretty much assembled.
Well, not even that. I mean, it could all be done in that one manufacturer. It's all assembled, everything.
Okay.
Just the fact is, they'll sell it to like a trading company. That trading company will work with maybe an importer here. That importer works with a broker that has maybe 10 factories behind. It's just so many different levels.
Okay, so this help us. So just to wrap that part up. So like what we're saying is it's just a complex part before it gets onto the shelf. Yeah. And what your company is doing is you're eliminating all those in between parts and just going from A to B.
Right.
Okay. So real quick, what you said that there are like traders and importers like in between in that process who touch it. Can you just describe it to me, like what those are exactly? Like I hear you saying the word trader, and I don't know what the hell that means. I just know.
So let's take a broker, for example. A broker will have a couple factories that they'll typically work with. It'll be a certain product that they have
right
pretty good expertise in. That They have good relationships with those factories, basically.
Okay.
Someone in the U.S. might have.
So wait. A broker. We need real simple terms out here. So a broker is someone who
represents the manufacturers.
Okay.
But they're not part of the actual menu. Like they don't
manufacture stuff. They just represent the whole group as a whole.
Right.
And they make it easy. Oh, I see the connecting the dots here. They represent all those manufacturers of a particular product,
right.
And then they work with the next layer
right.
to get all their stuff at once and put it in with
right.
these guys, right?
Right. And some of them don't even work with the logistics. They just say, hey, we have this. If someone finds them, then they could handle,
They're a people person.
shipping.
They just talk.
Yeah.
All they do all day is talk to people.
Yeah.
They're like, hey, do you know this guy? I know that
right,
guy.
Right.
That's
right.
it.
And,
how weird is that?
No, it is.
But that's
it
like
is.
you're operating in the 1800s.
Yeah.
Seriously.
Yeah.
That's like you're going by horse and like sending
inefficient.
messages by pigeon or something.
And it's completely inefficient.
That sucks.
It does.
That sucks.
That's the easiest way to describe it. It's like.
So we're paying extra. Like people are paying
like
extra.
Us consumers.
Yeah, consumers
yes.
are paying
yes.
extra because someone is like, hey, I know this guy. Do you know him?
Yeah.
No. Well, for 1% of the 1%, I'll go ahead and I'll introduce you to this guy.
Yeah.
That's a fucking crazy thing.
Yeah. It's like I mean, even if you went factory direct, there are still so many problems with it. There's communication errors, there's language barriers, especially if you're going overseas. If you're trying to handle international litigation,
right.
I mean, that itself is just a huge
What do you mean
process.
international litigation? Just the process of shipping stuff? Is that just like
if let's say there's a shell company
okay.
in overseas, and
what's a shell company?
A shell company, they're
the face. They're the face of something else.
Yeah, but it's not real. It's just fake. It's just like a empty.
They don't make
warehouse.
anything.
They don't make anything.
Why?
But they say that they would.
Why?
Because in every aspect of business, there's going to be scammers, right? There's going to
so they're like scamming people.
Yeah, there are those, and then there are those that promise everything that you want, and then can't deliver, or they do deliver, but they don't deliver exactly what you want.
Yeah.
And good luck trying to
Bro,
get your money back from them.
Yeah.
And so it's like we take care of all those security checks and quality control inspections. We make sure everyone gets their reports.
So your company goes through that process of making sure everything is like being lined up.
We handle all the grunt work, I like to say.
That is tough.
Yeah.
That's a tough job.
It's a good group of people.
Okay, that's good.
It's a good group of people. Everyone keeps the customers. I would say we look at ourselves as a customer.
Okay.
So when we go to the factory, we say we need this, we need this, we need this. It's like we are the ones that are going to need it. It's not going to be our clients that are saying they need it, and so let's just try to get that for them. It's like that is our project.
Right. You're
this.
owning it.
Right.
Your responsibility.
We
You're
stand
owning
behind
it.
all of this. We need this.
But that's in my mind. That's such a tough job, and this is my like thought process behind it. I have so many friends, right? Like I'm not saying I'm saying in the sense of like I have so many friends.
Popular.
I'm so God, Mr. Popular. I have so many friends that different degrees of friendships, right? You have friends who you trust all the time.
Right.
You have friends who will come by 3/4 of the time. You have friends that you can count on in emergency situations. You have friends who you're like, man, they're going to miss 90% of the things that we do.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So these friends, like these companies that you guys you have in circles, right? So you guys have to be ready for the friend who like might not show up 50% of the time. You know what I mean?
Right. And we take care of all that, and we make sure our clients are happy. Customer satisfaction should be number one for everyone. I don't know why it's not.
Right.
Everything's driven by an end user.
Okay, so I feel like I have a good grasp on what the company does. Well, one more time though. So you were describing to me earlier that you guys have you guys do this all through an online database. How would you explain that? How would you explain if someone wants to do it?
Yeah, I'm so excited to explain it. So we just we launched this open beta testing, and it's primarily going to be for wholesalers or purchasing groups that they'll have one purchaser here, one purchaser there. They all have different specialties.
Right.
It's going to be this one system where they can go on and say, okay, I need my doors, I need my cabinets, I need my countertops, vanities, bathtubs, you name it, you put it in there.
So this is who? This is a Walmart, or this is a smaller shop.
It could be Walmart. It could be Lowe's.
I'm just trying to give something for people to wrap their mind around as far as so it's something that they buy from. You know what I mean? They go to the store to purchase something.
Wholesale.
So wholesale. Oh, yeah, right. So this is them.
Yeah, these are larger, but it could be an inventor. You make some cool table and it has some special device on it that you stand behind. You love this. You love this design, but to get it manufactured here, it's an arm and a leg.
Yeah.
You go through us. We try to get all the specs that you need. We make sure that the factory that we choose for you has those capabilities. It can produce what you need.
Right.
Exactly.
This makes sense.
And so that's for inventors.
Right.
And then you have your developers.
Okay.
So they're making a hotel, or they're making a multifamily unit project with 200 condos or 200 apartments.
Okay.
So most of those apartments are going to have the same cabinets. They're going to have the same toilets. They're going to have the same countertops, same design, same everything.
This is what blows my mind. Look at that at scale. Like we don't even have any real concept of how much stuff has to be bought to make simple shit.
Yeah.
Like imagine what it takes to build like one house, let alone a hotel.
Yeah.
A hotel that needs a hotel that has hundreds and hundreds of rooms, and they have the same cabinet that requires 2 hinges in every single room.
Right.
So they have to order like thousands of those hinges.
Yeah. Or if it's cabinets, they'll typically order the whole sets.
Okay.
But
still at scale. The idea is
in the same thing. They're ordering cabinets. They're probably not going to be ordering the doors from the same place that they order the cabinets.
Right.
Each one they're going to be getting a group of quotes from different suppliers, right?
So they'll really they'll order the cabinet from somewhere and the door from somewhere else, because it's like the smallest difference. Because at scale, it's thousands or millions or some large number of savings.
Yeah. Well, it's like a door manufacturer won't manufacture cabinets. They won't manufacture countertops.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying there?
That makes sense. Yeah,
it's like they just are completely different.
They're just on doors, and the process of manufacturing it isn't close enough for them to be like, this is one, this is two.
Right. So in that, they'll have different suppliers, or they have distributors that typically work with name brand.
That makes sense. I've never, this is the first time I'm connecting the dots now. So distributors. Well, that's why all these people talk to the manufacturing facilities that make the same stuff, because the distributors want to work with people who are buying stuff for kitchens, right? So they'll collect all the kitchen stuff that should go in the kitchen, like the cabinets, doors, all that stuff. There'll be a one-stop shop. Mm-hmm. They'll upcharge what the manufacturer, like a little. Everyone takes their cut,
right?
So they'll upcharge it some percentage, some whatever, and then they pass it down the way.
Yeah, it's a process, right?
This is a hell of a process.
But think about that. Now, there's a website where you can go on and say, okay, I need my cabinets, doors, countertops, vanities, mirrors. I need my interior, exterior doors. I need my windows for this project. So this is one project for one project that a developer has.
Right.
Now they have another project where they need completely different things, but of the same thing. They need different cabinets, but they need cabinets. They need different doors, but they need doors. And they could do all this through one system.
What about the people what about the manufacturers? The people who manufacture it, are they all in it, like, they have to sign something to get on your website, or something happens, right? Like they have to get on your website.
Yeah, our operations team is actually, they go to the factories themselves, inspect the factories, inspect the goods, check the samples out.
So it's like a whole, your company and system is like a whole quality control system.
End to end.
Holy
all the way from bringing on the factory to after sales support.
Bro, that's huge.
Yeah,
that's like I'm seeing what it is now. It's a place.
It's not there yet though. Like
it's not.
There's nothing that's.
You're making like an online. I'm sorry, guys, for making this comparison, but you're making like an online Target relative to like the comparison. There's always a quality comparison between Target and Walmart as far as shopping experience.
Right.
The idea is you're trying to be the Target with the experience, but if you follow that analogy, and then you're trying to be the Walmart with the price.
Right. Like
good experience, good quality for the lowest price.
Right. Yeah, that's great. Maybe we'll steal that from.
No. I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it, because I've been in so many classes where we talk about supply chain, we talk about these things, but it's coming from someone who practically, like from you, who very practically operates at this level day in and day out and fully understands the business and understands everything behind it. It's just different hearing it from like your perspective. Wow.
And it's weird. If you would have asked me about anything about supply chain 2 years ago, I would have told you to go Google it.
That's what I'm talking about.
I learned all of it just through research, through the classes that we've taken. My boss's experiences. It's just insane, just the amount of knowledge that I've gained in the past year and a half of being with them.
That's what I wanted. So classes, right? You had classes and you learned. Wait, what class? Do you know what number teaches supply chain here? Do we have a supply chain specific class?
I have no clue.
Okay. Okay.
Couldn't tell you. They're all just numbers.
I'm like, yeah. I'm just thinking of it like production planning, controlling. Like obviously that's not supply chain. Oh, I'll have to think more about it. I'm not even sure if I maybe even haven't had that specific class yet. But do you feel like you learn more from like things that you know so far in the classroom, or just on the job, like fucking learning it?
I think on the job. But I wouldn't be able to do it without the experiences that I had in the classroom, if that makes sense.
Okay, be more specific then. Like, what wouldn't you? So this is kind of my argument all the time. My thing is like, I'm not dissing the school and I'm not dissing like our class. Our program is great, right? Like, I really loved it, and like it helps me like realize a lot of things going on in the world that I would never have this opportunity to even be sitting here had like the school not existed for that platform. But to me, it's like when I sit down here. Perfect example. I was just talking about someone about this yesterday. I'm sitting here and I'm talking to you one-on-one about all the shit that you do and all these things that you realize and all these things, right? For me to get as much information as I have right now from just sitting with you for 15 minutes, it would have taken like 2 months of learning in the classroom.
Yeah.
Because there wasn't this instant like feedback and understanding.
Right,
it was like learn it like he's going to go through everything. You know what I mean?
It's like, let me teach you all of this.
You're right.
And I think that's really what we need. And that's why I like Dr. Bird's classes, 200, 220
right.
level. It's like case studies. It's like, all right, now
snap,
let's take this and let's apply it to a real life problem. How can we solve this?
Right.
And he always tells us, that this is how I would solve it, but if this is how you want to solve it, then we could find some holes in there and we could see how you would do it better.
Right. So which classes specifically do you think contributed to you being able to like get to where you are to be able to do this stuff? And I understand a lot of what you're doing now you probably learned on the job from them in trial and error type stuff. So
I would say honestly, for me to be able to work with developers, I had to take 445.
Okay, what's 445?
445 is project management.
Oh, okay.
And that's really getting into the mind of a project manager and seeing how they would establish these lead times. And if I'm talking to a developer, I automatically know they're going to have a lead time. They're going to have a production schedule of when they're planning on rolling certain aspects of it out, right? The project.
Right.
So they'll need their cabinets this day. It doesn't mean they need it in a week because they're ready to do it on that day.
Right.
So like I know that beforehand before I even talk to them.
Okay. So that's where you got most of it from, the project management class. And it's so hard for me to relate to that because I'm taking that this summer actually, just taking it online. But no, I could understand that piece. That piece makes sense.
And a lot 316 for quality control.
Okay. I'm in there right now.
Yeah. Dr. J's a great professor.
Bro, he's the best.
Yeah.
shout out Dr. J. He's I'm calling it now. He's getting on the podcast at some point. He's getting on the podcast at some point.
That'd be entertaining.
Wouldn't that be a good one? That would be. I think this is going to be a great one. I mean, I don't even know how far in. Holy shit, bro. This is what I'm talking about. We're 27 minutes in. We're 27 minutes in.
Like 5 minutes.
Bro, seriously. We're 27 minutes in, and we've been in the roots. Like, IEs are going to love this one. I'm serious. Bro, this company thing is blowing my mind because, like, there's so many pieces of it that I don't understand. So, let me hear about your personal experiences then working with this company, all right? Or being a part of it, however you like to look at it. Okay. Like, do you look at yourself as being like you owning a piece of it, or do you look at it as, because I talked to you before, just a quick background. I forget what it was exactly. I saw a flyer or something that said that you guys were hiring or whatever, or looking for interns like during the school year. Yeah. And I had interviewed with you in the process, like, because I was interested at the time. Then I just decided to take a step back. I realized I have probably too much going on. But how did you get involved? Did you get involved like how you were trying to get me involved, like just by interviewing at first and like seeing that there was something here?
Similar.
Okay, yeah. So help me.
I was on barefootstudents.com, and that's where I applied to this. And at the time, it was Chuan, our CEO, his wife Jay. She handles operations.
Okay.
She's VP of operations all over China. So she is the mastermind behind why we're able to effectively work with all these factories.
What did we need to keep continuing with like how you got into this? Yeah. But what does she do? Like, how did she?
She really runs the operations team. So
what did she do before this though? Do you know? Like, because she has to have. Sure. Okay, she has to have some great background.
She came from a family that was always in manufacturing.
That's what I'm saying. So like, you don't just come out and out the gate like, I'm just gonna contact all these Chinese manufacturers. Yeah. You have to have a good, like, this base stuff takes years and years of networking and understanding and having someone who's experienced in it. So. No, 100%. All right, resume what you were saying though. So there were how many people when you got on board?
So I interviewed with Chuan and Tom at the time. He's no longer with the company now. I think he had he had a baby at the time.
Yeah,
so
just
he
a lot
had
going
a
on.
lot of other things going on. And when they told me the idea, I just fell in love with it. I was like, this is going to make everything so
So
much
there were
more
just 2 or
efficient.
3 people when you got on board?
I think so. There might have been more people on the operations side.
Wow.
But the face side of things.
Yeah,
was
I
working
understand.
with
I
them
understand.
too.
Yeah, I get it.
And I completely fell in love with the idea. Every time I talk about it, I still get happy because it's like, this is actually going to change someone's life one day. This is going to reflect in all of our pricing of everything.
Okay, so you just told us like maybe like why you got on board and what kind of sold you, but like when did you first start this? I think I looked on LinkedIn right before this. It was like a year ago or a year and a half.
Yeah, year and a half. And when I first started, it was Eureka, and that just it's kind of an ear sore.
Eureka. Wait, when I interviewed, that's what the name was.
Is that what it was?
I think so.
Probably.
Yeah.
This, Noviland came around about a year ago.
Okay, did you
January of
merge
last
or
year.
did you just change?
So we went from an LLC to C corp.
Oh,
Yeah. So it's just growth. Exactly.
Nice. Okay.
And so, where was I going with that?
When you started.
Oh yeah. So when I started, it was kind of just he told me what we wanted to do, but it was kind of a vague.
Idea?
The idea was there. How would we effectively get
Execution?
to that market? Yeah. More of that market penetration.
Yeah.
And a lot of it was just trial and error.
Is there anything like you guys out there? There's got to be, right?
So Alibaba, I'm not sure if you.
Of course.
Alibaba. So it's similar, but not
How
the
do you
same.
guys?
It's
Where you?
different, but same.
Are you guys trying to like differentiate yourselves through the quality aspect? Is that like one of your like ideas, or is Alibaba still quality? Like, do they have?
It's just a different approach to it. Alibaba, they take anyone can go onto it and get matched to a factory, right? That factory says
I could go on Alibaba.
You can go on Alibaba
Really?
and say, hey, I need however many of these hinges or tables or desks or whatever. Factories will reach out to you and you work with that factory directly. But with that, you're probably going to get a whole inbox full of different factories just sending you their catalogs. And on top of that, there's going to be communication errors. There's going to be time gaps between communication.
So in a way, it is a more quality thing then. It's
Yeah.
like because you're kind of regulating it a little more, and you're kind of like trying to be. You're just middlemaning it a little more than like what they're doing.
Right.
Okay, that makes sense to me. What do you do within the company? This is what I was going to ask earlier. What do you do specifically like you do? Like what's your role within the company and on a day-to-day basis? Because you're in school, like what is it you're doing? Because I've seen you on the phone a lot.
Yeah, I handle sales primarily.
Okay.
So a lot of sales calls, a lot of explaining to people what the concept is and kind of the education aspect behind it. Aside from that, it's a lot of research into different markets and into whoever I call before I call them even.
Right. So what's that usually like? Like, are you cold calling companies? Are you?
Yeah,
that's rough. I've done it. Not even necessarily companies, but I've just cold called for like all sorts of things, sales jobs and stuff. And I know how hard that is, let alone getting through the front door of whatever they have going on.
Exactly. And we encountered that. And then we found a few other effective ways to kind of get into the market. Going to trade shows, for example.
That's a perfect one because it's professional still. It's not intrusive. It's not that immediate turn off or so whatever from like just getting a call from.
And it's a space where thousands and thousands of people have a need, or if they don't have a need, they're trying to fulfill a need, right?
Right.
So it's like we went to Vegas back in May of last year. That was a great time. It was like my first time flying and everything.
You probably feel like a boss, man. Like first time flying and like it's with a company and it's like doing your thing. Like first time like really getting your hands on this stuff.
Yeah. And so just going back to that, it's a lot of what I did there was just approach people and just kind of talk to them about their needs and kind of just trying to feel out the market. And so sales, I would say, is what I primarily do, but the second thing I do is, it's hard to describe. It's a lot of.
Is it like a support role? Is it like if they have any problems, is that generally what it is?
That too, but it's a lot of meetings. It's a lot of meeting with the operations side, meeting with Chuan, our CEO, Caleb, our COO. It's just the formulation of different ideas being put together.
Right.
and how could we effectively achieve like a goal that we set based on those ideas.
Right. Is it just like a hodgepodge merging of brains to try to like just whiteboard stuff essentially and like
really
think
is.
tank type
Yeah.
stuff?
Yeah. But I mean, obviously, we know what we need to do.
But how to do it is
How to
a
do
whole
it,
different thing.
Complete different thing.
Right. You guys pretty much have to bring all of your experiences together to like get anywhere. Right.
And I think, I mean, I've learned just as much from them than I have in the past 6 years of being in school.
See, that's what I'm talking about. If anybody has the opportunity to do something like this, and I immediately after we had our interview, I knew like, even though I couldn't do it at the time, I knew like, bro, like whoever gets on board with doing this kind of stuff, these people, whoever's like committing hours and hours of like in school time, you know what I mean? Like on top of school, to be able to like invest into the future a little bit by like this kind of an idea.
Right.
Like it's gonna pay off, like one way or another. Like with practical experience, saying that you've been in this market,
Right.
you know what market research actually is, you know what like calling manufacturers actually is, you know what all these things are, bro. That's like that alone would get you a job if this ever ran into a problem.
I don't think it ever will.
I don't think it will, but I'm talking about in general though. So if people out there who like have these other options, you know what I mean, of not working for you guys but another company who might not be structurally sound,
I strongly urge anyone that could work for a startup, try it out.
Yeah.
As long as you have to love the idea though. I feel like if I worked for a startup that was about something that just I can't stand behind, I would hate it.
Right.
I would hate it more than working for a structured organization.
Like, what do you mean you can't stand by? Like, they're acting like they have a new and nice product, but it's not new, or not as nice.
I would say just they have an idea, but you don't love the. It could be a great idea, the best idea in the world, but you don't.
But you don't love the idea. Yeah, it's just not aligning with what you like in life, or whatever.
Right, and like I know for a fact, whenever I talk to someone, I want to help them save time. I want to help them save money. I want them to be able to, not stay up till, stay at work until 7, 8 at night wondering where their shipments are. Those are real problems.
Do you track shipments too?
Yeah, track shipments. Do everything. It's the whole 9 yards. I'm telling you.
This is so hard for me around my mind because I'm not super familiar with supply chain. So like, of course I know people track shipments. Of course I know that's how it works. But I didn't know like you guys were taking that whole thing.
Yeah, it's really end to end. It's all the way from getting them the quotes and then they pick whichever quote they like best.
Okay, so say you're shipping something, right? Say something's coming over. Who owns the logistical vehicles that are bringing these things over?
Well, that's all a logistics company.
Okay, so that's a whole different piece.
Yeah, we don't touch logistics.
You guys
we
communicate.
track it.
You guys communicate.
We track it for you, but we don't.
Okay, you provide
like,
the online software, the
right.
database, the research, the looking up everything, the buying, and then a logistical company handles the order,
right?
And then you guys track it for them and tell them upon delivery,
right.
quality
when
control,
it passes
who comes
customs, when it got to the warehouse for the freight forwarder, when it's getting on the truck, usually the truck driver will coordinate it with the warehouse manager and deliver it that way.
What about the hours you put in, man? Because I've like I said earlier, like I've seen you here a lot, and I'm not always here doing work. I'm sometimes doing this, sometimes editing, sometimes doing other stuff, and I just feel like I see you always on the phone, always jumping in the classroom or something. So like, what do your hours look like?
It's kind of sporadic, and like I kind of, before we even started all this, it's. I couldn't tell you like how many hours I put in. It's not like it's a countless amount or anything like that.
It's random times, random places.
It's just like if I have time, if like.
What's an hour, right? I mean, because like you just did work for like 30 to 40 minutes. You know what I mean? Or like randomly, is that an hour? That kind of thing.
It's like I'll be sometimes just laying in bed at night and I'll just be researching something just out of curiosity.
Because that's your interest. Right. It makes sense.
Right. And technically, I guess it would be considered work because it's work related.
Yeah.
But it's like I just want to continuously learn. I want to be able to.
So you aren't even thinking about it. It's just life.
Yeah.
It's all one thing. Like,
and I can't wait to graduate, get out of here, just be able to dedicate my whole
time to that. Yeah. Bro, that's going to be a whole different thing.
Yeah. Just, it's going to be a different world. I'm so excited for it.
Yeah. Do you feel like you're in a good place for graduation?
Yeah.
When do you graduate? I don't even know.
May.
This year?
Yeah, May this year.
Oh my God. This is awesome, bro.
How about you?
Bro, May of next year. I don't even want to talk about it. It's too long. I've been here way too long, bro.
Critical paths, man.
Nah, I don't regret any of it though. I've told you I took time off. That's how I ended up getting like my internship, doing things, the practical experience, why I'm able to like sit here and want to talk to you about these things. Because I realized like sitting in class, bro, sitting in class, I couldn't wrap my mind around anything they were talking about. I was like, what? What are you talking about? Like, this doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Bro, now that I'm able to like talk with people like you, and I've been in the field and in like many of them, manufacturing, distribution, retail, understanding databases, a little bit of supply chain. Man, I love talking about this shit now. Like now I really know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
I'm not just sitting here BSing with anyone.
I wish that was the experience that everyone had. I wish that's the experience that I got to have before even coming to college.
Bro, yeah,
If
something needs to be done. I don't know what needs to be done, but something needs to be done.
I think having like, I know we have like career days, for example, in high school and in middle school, but those aren't, I don't know, they're not practical. They're not done effectively. Like if someone came in here and they were in their 20s and I'm fresh out of high school, like what you're doing now.
Right.
And they were able to share their experiences with me, and I could see what I would hate, like immediately. If someone was telling me this is what I do, like these are some of the things day to day that I perform, I'd be like, I hate that. I don't want to do that. That's great. That's perfect. Thank you for telling me what you do.
Yeah. Because I know that I don't give two shits about it.
Right.
That's interesting. I think that a lot of times what people end up doing, I think, is like less about what exactly they're interested in, because I think you don't know what you're interested in, and more about what you're being educated on. Does that make sense? What your parents do. Like you don't always follow the path of your parents. I get that. But if say you're in school or something and you're getting educated about this area, or here's the biggest thing. I have a big beef with this.
Let's hear it.
TV shows. How many TV shows I watched and changed my mind about what I wanted to do?
Yeah.
CSI Miami, bro. NCIS.
Law and Order.
Yeah. You know how many times I changed you know how many people I've talked to who have done that, who have thought they wanted to do something because they see it on TV?
Yeah.
Bro, that is big business.
Yeah.
Like, where are my engineer shows?
Yeah.
Are there some? I don't know about them.
No, you got one now.
Well, we're about to have one on TV, baby. Let's go. Why do you think? Why do you think we're doing this? Bro, that's what I'm talking about, though. Seriously, think about it. Imagine a show that romanticizes, like, because that's what these shows do. They take a job, right? They take the best parts of it, the core of it, the essence of it, and they romanticize it a little bit and give it a sexy character and a good vibe. And now everyone is like, yeah, like that's why I want to do this. Is cool, this and that. Imagine people doing that for like engineering or something else. Like, imagine how it changes supply and demand of jobs. Like, if government doesn't already have their hands in on like what TV shows they need compared to what we're lacking in the markets. They should. I guess they do. Someone does, right?
They're going to hear you.
Oh, shit. Oh, shit. Programmers, though, right? That came around. I don't know who does that, but
there was
there's
one
TV shows
show about it.
There's many now. There's many now is what I'm saying. But, like, I wonder if that had a – I don't know, man. I wonder if that had to do with, like – it's like what comes first, the chicken or the egg kind of thing, right? So, like – Did it start to become popular? That's why they put it on TV?
Probably.
Or did the reverse happen where people needed more, so they put it on TV, and now one way is smart and one way is like what's popular.
Yeah, I mean it definitely did become more popular than 10 years ago.
Bro, way more. Way more. You know how many people are fucking like, oh, I'm gonna make it big off coding apps and this and this and this.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm not saying it's all a direct reflection from. Yeah, was that your mindset?
Well, like I just got my niece and nephew some books for coding, for example. He's like 14 and she's 10.
Why did you get him the books? Bro, you're educating them because you know that's just how they're fucking going to lean after they start picking shit up.
They have like iPads now. They learn coding, I think, in the 5th grade in Arlington. It's just insane to me. And when I ask them, I'm like,
Arlington's got a good education system. Virginia.
Yeah, it does.
Virginia has a killer education system.
It does. And I asked them, I'm like, are you following through with like the coding? They're like, no, we just learned it in class. I'm like, get on that. That's you want to make money. That's where the money is.
That's where the money is, yeah.
And so yeah, now I have conversations from time to time with my niece and just see what she learned from it. And
It's weird though.
It's different,
bro. It's weird. These kids learning coding, they know more than me in coding.
Yeah,
you're probably equivalent now because you got caught up early. But they know more than me. I'm like, bro. This is what I was saying. So, what do you think about this? I know we're getting on tangent here, but what do you think about? Our parents, right? Baby boomers. So the baby boomer generation right now, they're in a lot of ways, they're less valuable than a lot of our generation who's graduating. Like I could do a lot of my parents or my friends' parents or all their jobs. I feel like I could do all of them, like in the sense of more efficiently, right? But they might be being paid more than me right now. You see what I'm saying? Depending on the jobs, depending on industries. I get that, guys. But say, you know what I mean? Like, say that they're working a desk job of some sort. They don't know Excel to the degree that I know Excel.
Right.
Just because we are, like, mastering it.
Right.
Like, we grew up on computers. We grew up on this. They don't understand, like there are people's parents who still balance checkbooks in a physical ledger.
Yeah.
My parents do it.
Yeah, my mom does it.
This is what I'm talking about. They hand punch it. They punch it, and it's not a security reason most of the time. Most of the time, it's just because things have been done that way, right? And that's their mentality towards work and all these other things. No disrespect, Mom, but like, but you see what I'm saying there, right? Like, that's a flaw in a way because like we grew up on it. Now that's going to be us. Think about programmers right now.
Yeah, like my niece and nephew. Like they're already learning coding, whereas I didn't even get introduced to it till junior year of high school.
So what happens when the jobs that we get to in like 15 or 20 years like all require like a baseline of coding? It's like, well, all we do is talk to machines here. Like, I don't know what you need. I don't know what you think you're
going to
do.
It's like college degrees now. It's if you want to work anywhere, it says, well, first of all, it says 10 years experience, but we're looking for someone under 30.
We need experience. It doesn't make no logical sense whatsoever.
And then it always says, just bachelor's degree. It doesn't even say bachelor's degree in this or in that. It just says bachelor's degree. It doesn't say high school diploma anymore.
Right.
Unless it's like a lower level job.
What do you think about that? What do you think about the system in general, like with the whole college system? Do you think it's like it built on something that's structurally sound or like it's going to last or?
I think the education system itself is great. I think everyone should get an education. I hate it personally. I hated classes. I hated tests. I hate everything about school. But I think that
not a red
so
flag
many
then?
doors. Huh?
Is that not a red flag then? You know what I mean? That like
that
if everyone tends, not just you, a lot of people.
Yeah,
a lot of people tend to hate it. You know what I'm saying?
I don't know because like I hate it, but at the same time I know it's opened so many more doors that like I wouldn't be able to work my job effectively if I didn't have certain classes.
And now you kind of appreciate it. And
exactly.
now you're like,
Exactly.
I understand that.
It's, I wouldn't have met you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't be here.
You.
I wouldn't.
I agree with that part. It's like a community piece. It's like the teachers, they open doors to network. You start to understand these things.
But I don't think it's, tuition is going up at WVU every year. I don't think that's fair. Fair relative. I don't really know what's fair, but
I think I think competition. Something is going to beat it out. Like not WVU, the structure, the system as a whole. And I know a lot of people are talking about this, right? Something is going to come along for real, and it's just going to be in trouble.
I know trade schools are starting to pick up more.
So imagine an IE trade school where to be an industrial engineer, they required, and you might think, well, like that's kind of hard because you need a science or more technical degree. But imagine like you go to a 2-year school that charges less and specializes in all your base learning for engineering.
Right.
And then you go on to a school who just got picked from the top 10% of IEs in the country.
Right.
And now they charge less than WVU, but enough that they pay everyone a fair amount.
And you get to specialize in just
and
that.
You get specialized in just that. Bro, like that's a model that like is like
you got something going there.
No, but think about it. Doesn't it make sense though? It's like shit. It's like if we're coming to school, I've watched like a Harvard lecture, I forget something, and like the number one, I forget the technical terms they were using, but like the biggest thing in their whole model was their teachers. If they got the best teachers, that's what drives the value for the students because that's their idea.
Right.
And I'm just thinking like, well, geez, why would you even like have this big school and all this stuff then? Why wouldn't you just pour your money into the teachers and then getting these students on board? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like the specialized school that I was just saying. I think it's in trouble.
One thing I really don't understand, kind of jumping off of that, is why aren't teachers paid some of the highest salaries in this country? It's especially when you're trusting your kid to go to school for the first 15, 16 years of their lives, going into an education system, and you're trusting all these teachers to really guide them to live an effective life, learn these math, sciences, social studies, language arts, everything.
Right.
But like, we're not paying them even near enough, I think.
Which teachers, college or high school?
I think high school, middle school, elementary school.
That makes sense. They're low wages there.
Yeah, and I just don't understand it.
And it's tough because it's public. A lot of it. You're talking about public schools, right?
Yeah, especially public schools.
That's tough.
Private schools, they're probably making more. But
yeah, we're in like an area of my ignorance, but I've heard so many complaints about that, and not just general complaints from teachers, guys. I'm talking like serious, like they just don't make that much.
Yeah,
and especially for what they have to go through and what they have to like
right. Like
their goal,
college education. And
yeah,
things like that.
Yeah,
it costs them just as much as it costs me to get that same
And their day in
education.
and day out stress and like what they go through for the job and like responsibilities, it's high.
Yeah. And think about it, for, 8 hours that you're at school, that person is taking care of you 5 days a week.
They're the babysitter.
Yeah, they are the babysitter.
They're the babysitter with a lot more responsibility.
Yeah, I mean, I walked into my nephew's classroom, I think it was 2 or 3 years ago, and it was just a bunch of kids running around. And I was like, I don't know how you do this. Like, that's stressful.
You know what's funny is I'm not around kids ever now because like we're in this like campus. We're in a town that's run by the college, right? I feel like I don't see anyone under the age of 18 like hardly ever.
Yeah.
Like very little, very few amount of times.
And the few times I see them, they're like on High Street, and it's like maybe once every 2-3 weeks that I'm down there trying to get some food from one of the restaurants. Yeah.
So rarely. Oh my God, bro, we're at 51 minutes. All right, I'm gonna have to chop this up or do something with it because this is crazy. But let's wrap this up. Let's start with this. If you had like a piece of advice, or someone came out to you and asked like, "Hey man, like what's the way I can get involved with, not necessarily your company, but any company, you know what I mean, to get a job in engineering and work part-time like while going to school?" Because some people have like a problem with money, and some people have experience problems. It just depends. Like what would you say for going about doing that? Because you said you did it through some site.
It was Barefoot Students,
right?
But apart from Barefoot Students, I think I was signed up to Indeed, Monster. I had my resume into 2 different staffing agencies. I went all out. I was sending out like 50 applications a day.
Really?
Like yeah. Like I'm not
planning to work while in school, or just wanting an internship.
Wanting anything that they could offer me. If they could offer me an internship, that'd be great. If they wanted me to work, then I would talk to them and say, hey, look, these are my skill sets. My skill sets aren't going anywhere in a year, but can I have my foot in that door at that time? I would say just apply everywhere. Talk to everyone. Get these experiences.
Don't close any doors.
Don't close any doors. Like don't look at a job and say, I'm not going to like that. You don't know what that job is. Don't do that.
You just see some words on paper and you don't even really know the responsibilities. It's just the stuff that you hear. You know what I mean?
Even if you see that, they might have another position open that you might actually enjoy. It's like don't. Who said it? I think it was Michael Jordan that said, you miss 100% of the shots that you don't take.
Right.
Like take all the shots that you possibly can.
Yeah.
And
you're not losing anything.
Yeah. No, I mean, I found a company that I completely love. I completely stand behind. I could talk about it honestly for hours, and like I could talk to anyone about it, and try to apply it to their life. And I wouldn't have been able to do that if I wasn't finding these smaller sites like Barefoot Students.
That makes sense.
Monster and Indeed and all these different avenues of having potential and just coming together. It's like you said, don't close any doors.
Don't close any doors. Francois, thank you for being on the podcast. We appreciate it, my man.
Thank you.
This rubber, I'm gonna burn this gasoline and set it on fire.